Settle for less than you deserve.
Epidemic telling us a record number of young people are visiting local emergency rooms to be treated for reactions to synthetic drugs such as fake marijuana and bath salts.
The drugs are being blamed for several deaths. Attempts to crack down on these dangerous chemicals are being frustrated, partly because manufacturers are constantly changing the recipes to skirt the law. Tonight, Channel 4's Vic Michelucci has been digging deeper and shows us just how destructive these substances can be.
There's a van coming about 55, 60 miles an hour directly towards me.
Kevin Pruitt says his life changed in an instant when a van crashed into his car at this intersection on the west side.
The car I had before was totaled out. I also have shoulder issues now. I'm having to go to the doctor 3 days a week, which isn't really easy because I work a pretty demanding job.
Police interviewed the other driver, 20-year-old Michael Brown, and according to this report, he confessed to cops that he had just smoked, quote, some synthetic weed, and his pipe was inside the car. Detectives took a blood sample and are still investigating. So far, he hasn't been charged with a crime, which has Pruitt upset. He's hired a lawyer who says this is a new twist in the classic crime of driving under the influence.
And all of a sudden now his sleep hours are taken up by doctor's appointments and MRIs and things. He can't lift his shoulder all the way up, and it's just unfortunate because somebody decided to go get some fast food and get high.
The case highlights the problems people say are coming from synthetic drugs, marketed as safe and legal alternatives and sold under names like K2, Spice, and Potpourri.
It's dangerous.
This Jacksonville man says he got caught up in the craze a few years ago and quickly became addicted. Michael says every time he smoked the synthetic marijuana, he was dying inside, no longer able to do basic things.
The ability to sleep, the ability to eat, the ability to concentrate. I couldn't maintain a sentence. It almost took my marriage, and I didn't care.
Michael has been clean for 6 months now and is on a crusade to stop the spread of the dangerous substances, but complains they're still being sold at gas stations and smoke shops all across the area.
They're definitely not safe. They're not to be taken lightly.
Debbie Forrest with the Florida Poison Information Center says they're getting more and more calls about people having dangerous reactions to the newly made drugs. Statewide, poison information experts got 252 in 2010, 517 calls the next year, and 538 in 2012. Most of the calls, they say, resulted in ER visits.
They get hallucinations, they get psychotic episodes, nausea and vomiting, increased heart rate, increased blood pressure, suicidal thoughts and actions. They've actually had people commit suicide after having been influenced on these drugs.
So why can't more be done? Well, long story short, it's complicated. The governor and the attorney general have announced widespread crackdowns, banning the substances and the chemicals used to make them. But the drug makers continue to tweak the ingredients, changing up the compound just enough to skirt the law. Police say it's frustrating and a cycle that goes on and on. Captain Barry Abramowitz is leading the charge in Clay County. He says cops are doing everything they can to get rid of these dangerous substances, including undercover busts.
We're eventually going to catch them, in this county, and that's been proven time and time again.
It's something this former user says must be done all across the country before anyone else is hurt.
All for money. They're killing people in my community for money.
If you ever come across someone who's having a reaction to synthetic drugs, you should take them to a doctor or the hospital right away. You can also call Poison Information for free at 1-800-222-1222. I'm Vic Michelucci, Channel 4, the local station.